Hello everyone, today we talk about the German armed forces. Since the fall of the Berlin Wall in 1989, the Bundeswehr has returned to have considerable weight in Europe and in NATO. Its strengths are always the panzers, mechanized infantry and aviation to carry out international peacekeeping and anti-terrorism mission in the best possible way. With a budget of 57.3 billion euros in 2021, that is 1.53% of the German GDP, the Bundeswehr is a complex of 183,000 active personnel plus 50,000 reservists, numbers that place the German military in second place in Europe after France and among the top 30 in the world. The three main branches, the Heer, the Marine, the Luftwaffe, are integrated by the Special Forces, the Kommando Spezialkräfte, an essential component for the Bundeswehr as well, and by the new fighting, experts in cyber defense. The German army counts 62,766 active personnel, the Navy 16,390, and the Air Force 27,620. Plans for the future include an increase in armed men to reach almost 200,000. After the defeat in the Second World War, two crucial events marked the history of the Bundeswehr: the dissolution of the Wehrmacht by the Allies in August 1946, and the Basic Law of West Germany, that is the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Germany, which did not provide for the establishment of an armed force. After a long political and diplomatic journey, in 1954 the Basic Law was amended by inserting an article that made explicit the need to defend the sovereignty of the German Federal Republic. Based on this modification, the following year, on November the 12th, the rebirth of the armed forces in the country was marked, allowing the deployment of the military abroad for purposes of defense only and within the framework of a system of collective security. In the increasingly harsh climate of the Cold War, the Atlantic Alliance thawed, the German military units and even went so far as to include them in the staff of NATO, in which Bonn was fully welcomed. On the other side of the Berlin Wall, parallel steps were taken, and a few months later, on March 1st, 1956, East Germany also formed its own armed forces, the National People's Army, which in turn was fully integrated into the Warsaw Pact. Albeit small and the newest of all, the National People's Army was considered the best of the non-Soviet Warsaw Pact armed force. After the end of the Cold War and the reunification of Germany in October 1990, the National People's Army departments were dissolved, and only a small part, just 3,200 men, were admitted to the Bundeswehr. Since then, the German armed forces have returned to have an undoubted and considerable weight in Europe, and in particular in NATO. As per tradition, the heart of the German army are the Panzer units. They are all based on the Leopard 2A6 main battle tank of national production, the Krauss Maffei Wegmann. The Leopard, the backbone of the German army, is constantly evolving, and at the moment the modernization and increased plan of the vehicles launched in 2016 plans to develop it in the 2A7V version. V stands for verbessert, that is improved. Includes among the improvements a new 120mm smoothbore gun, latest generation piece produced like the 2A6 by the German Rheinmetall, with higher performance and range for a maximum combat distance of up to 5 kilometers, as well as the improvement of the air cooling system and armor plating. The tank features a completely new armor package that features tungsten, titanium, as well as nanoceramics. The goal is to improve both the offensive and defensive capabilities of the Leopards of an overall 20%. Furthermore, the Bundeswehr has planned to increase the number of specimens in consideration of a return of the importance of the armor on the battlefield. In detail, the plan provides that from the current 225 Leopard there will be at least 300 20 tanks in line, all in the new Leopard 2A7V standard, an acronym chosen to pay homage to the first tank that entered the line in German army during the First World War, the A7V Adalbert, which in turn echoed the initials of the secret group that had studied the project. Recently, the German military industry, often at the technological forefront, has revived another old tradition of the Germanic, armed forces, that is, mechanized infantry. For this purpose, a vehicle equipped with all the modern sophistication has been created, the Puma, of which 350 have been delivered, replacing the more than 40-year-old Marders, the latter to be modernized by 2023. The operational readiness of the Pumas will be achieved by 2024. Computer designed, this infantry combat vehicle carrying 3 crew plus a team of 6 that can fight even without getting out of the vehicle is a powerhouse of high-value technology. The turret is entirely remote controlled with a 30mm automatic cannon, coaxial secondary armaments, and MELLS weapon system that is multi-role capable lightweight guided missile system designed for engaging armored ground targets at ranges of up to 4 kilometers. The armors are modular. The protection system protects the crew from nuclear, biological, and chemical agents, while the engine has a small size but integrated with the electronic transmission releases significant power. The vehicle, in fact, reaches a speed of 70 kilometers per hour. The Puma has state-of-the-art chassis. Decoupled from the hull of the vehicle, the running gear supports serve as fuel tanks, thus getting new and particularly cared for standards for crew safety in anti-mine function and ensuring vibration-reduced travel. Among the most modern elements, the shooting control systems are very advanced, as well as all the computer and data communication equipment. In March 2022, a second batch comprising 229 Pumas of the latest standard was announced to be ordered by the German military in response to the renewed Russian expansionism. Even the Bundeswehr artillery, in its mobile component, is equipped with national production vehicle, the PZH-2000, the Panzerhaubitze 2000, a recently built 155mm self-propelled howitzer, also supplied to the Italian and Dutch armed forces. The PZH-2000 has been successfully used operationally in Afghanistan and has been highly appreciated by the commanders in the field for its considerable range. The DM-129 boat tail has a range of 30 to 36 kilometers, it is 19 to 22 miles. The M1711 base bleed 40 to 47 kilometers, that is 25 to 29 miles, and the rocket-assisted projectiles 67 kilometers, that is 42 miles, which has allowed a strong protection both of the bases scattered over the vast territory of the country and of the logistic convoys. As for the infantry, the basic armament of the German squad consists of the Eckler und Koch Gewehr 36 assault rifle caliber 5.56 mm, the Eckler und Koch Maschinengewehr 4, the general purpose machine gun, also 5.56 mm in caliber, used both as light and heavy machine gun in role, and the Eckler und Koch Maschinengewehr 5, 7.62 mm in caliber, which is replacing the older, although still widespread in other armies, Maschinengewehr 3, that these are weapons directly derived from the well-known Spandau MG42 of the Second World War, and of the Eckler and Koch MG5, that is instead similar in concept to the Belgian Minimi. An anti-aircraft version and a specific one for the special forces have been also developed. A first batch of 12,000 pieces was ordered with a 200 million euros price tag, but delayed due to accuracy concerns. Initially, we know that in 2018 about 4,400 MG5s were delivered, that nearly 7,000 MG5s were expected for the year after, and that in 2021 the Bundeswehr had more than 7,400 MG5s available and ordered over 11,000 additional ones in a 175 million euros procurement. At the end of 2024, 2/3 of these additional guns should be delivered, with the remainder to be delivered by 2025, and Germany strives to purchase nearly 19,000 MG5s with an option for nearly 4,000 additional units in the future. Anti-tank weapons range from domestically produced Panzerfaust rocket launchers to anti-tank missiles such as the Israeli Spike launchers and Franco-German made Milans. In the Bundeswehr, there are also two brigades of mixed nationality, the German-Dutch Corps and the Franco-German Brigade, also set up with a view of being able to have a real European army in the future, the first one being 1,000 troops in headquarters up to 60,000 troops in total. The latter counts instead almost 6,000 men. The German Air Force has over 465 aircraft, including fighter jets, helicopters, transport, reconnaissance, and training aircraft. About 27,000 men and women are part of it, and there are 5,000 reservists. The fighter jet line mainly has 143 Eurofighter Typhoons, 93 Panavia Tornadoes, the latter mostly in interdictor/strike function and the remainder in electronic combat/reconnaissance function. A squadron of drones is also equipped at the Schleswig Air Base with American and Israeli aircraft. In total, around 800 unmanned aircraft of various sizes fly for the Bundeswehr today. In 2011, the Luftwaffe was reorganized with the establishment of a centralized command, the Kommando Luftwaffe. The departments armed with surface-to-air missiles have been merged and are equipped with 14 MIM 104 Patriot air defense systems of U.S. production and 4 MANTIS short-range protection system intended for base protection of national production, still the Rheinmetall. By the way, the turret design being very similar to one of the Puma armor. Still in the 2011, the transport units were merged and redeployed in a single air base in Wunstorf in Lower Saxony. The core of the air transport fleet is based on 18 Airbus A400M Atlas and 29 Trans-L C-160. It should be noted that before the Russian invasion of Ukraine, the much discussed F-35 US superfighter was not taken into consideration by the Berlin defense leaders, who were instead oriented towards replacing Tornadoes with Eurofighter Typhoons between 2025 and 2030, period in which the last Tornadoes would have been withdrawn from service. The original goal was to have only one aircraft for the combat aircraft departments, as France does with the Dassault Rafale, and in particular a nationally produced aircraft within the Eurofighter consortium, which together with Germany includes Great Britain, Italy, and Spain. In March 2022, Germany's defense ministry said that the country will, however, buy Lockheed Martin's F-35 as Germany makes down payments on meeting its NATO obligation of 2% spending of the GDP. The Luftwaffe transport helicopter component has 72 Sikorsky CH-53G Stallion in service, all manufactured under license in Germany, Speyer. These extremely robust and versatile helicopters are the largest in use by the Western militaries. They have two turbines delivering a power of 2,850 horsepower, 4 crewmen, a payload of 3.6 tons, or with an external load up to 5.9 tons, 2 M60 machine guns, 7.62 millimeters in caliber. Since 2001, these models have been subjected to improvements made by Eurocopter Germany, changes that have concerned the anti-missile protection, the attachments for 2 external tanks so as to increase the autonomy of 1,800 kilometers, the possibility of transporting 36 fully equipped soldiers, or about 5.5 tons of material. The German CH-53G Stallions have been widely used in missions abroad, such as in Iraq, with the Kosovo force in Kosovo, with the implementation force in Bosnia and Herzegovina, and above all in the vast and challenging Afghan theater. It was in Kosovo in 1999 that the Kommando Spezialkräfte, that is the German Special Forces, made their debut. In the small newly born country, as later in Bosnia, the Bundeswehr commandos carried out their first operational missions with the main task of hunting down war criminals. In 2001, also in Kosovo, the Kommando Spezialkräfte achieved significant success when they released some humanitarian workers of the Sheltered Now organization who had been kidnapped. The following year came the qualitative leap. A detachment of 100 commandos was deployed in Oman to participate in operations in Afghanistan, where it took an active part in the fighting alongside other international special forces against Al-Qaeda and the Taliban. The Kommando Spezialkräfte were also deployed in the infamous Tora Bora mountainous area, known for being Bin Laden's last safe haven in Afghanistan. In the last years before the international contingent had been a gradual withdrawal of German commandos from the Central Asian country, where, however, a small detachment remained at the disposal of the multinational force. The Kommando Spezialkräfte were born only on April the 1st, 1996, as previously military restrictions imposed on Germany prevented their existence. But after the reunification of the country and the renewed importance of Berlin on the world stage, Germany considered it essential to have a special corps that was not just a police force. In previous years, in fact, the GSG-9, the Grenzschutzgruppe 9 der Bundespolizei, that is the police tactical unit of the German Federal Police, had already operated with great success, but it was classified as paramilitary police. At that time, departments of paratroopers and some of long-range reconnaissance forces were merged. The Kommando Spezialkräfte is structured within the Bundeswehr as a regular army corps and has a force of about 1,100 soldiers equipped with the best equipment available, not limited to those of excellent German production. Each of the four operational platoons, structured on 4 teams of 4 men, has its own specialization: infiltration by land, air, sea, mountain, or Arctic combat. The German Navy is very small in size and has preferred to focus on some selected types of ships, both surface and submarine. It has around 17,000 staff among sailors, subordinates, and officers. The naval units are mainly limited to 5 corvettes, 2 minesweepers, 10 mine hunters, 11 frigates, and 6 submarines, plus other smaller vessels, for a total of 200,000 tons. From a strategic point of view, the German Navy has always suffered from its inevitable geographical position, which borders it in the so-called restricted waters, with limited access to the North and the Baltic seas. The leading force in the German Navy are submarines. Submarine boats have had a notable technological leap. They passed from the Type 206, built in the 1970s and then modernized in the 1990s, to the current ultra-modern Type U-212, the U-Boot-Klasse 212A submarine of the German-Italian consortium between the Howaldtswerke Deutsche Werft GmbH and the Fincantieri SPA. The same submarine was in fact acquired by the Italian Navy, which currently has 3. The Type U-212 has state-of-the-art features and equipment for a non-nuclear boat. In particular, it is equipped with a double propulsion, one classic diesel and the other with fuel cells, a feature that provides it with considerable silence. Moreover, it is built with a technology that allows the boat to emit very few vibrations, thus making it more difficult to identify. Can stay submerged for up to 3 consecutive weeks. It has an autonomy of up to 15,000 kilometers and a maximum speed of up to 20 knots, that is 37 kilometers per hour, while diving. It is armed with 6 500 33mm torpedo tubes, and 24 anti-ship mines. The aeronaval component, the Marinefliegerkommando, is modest, a downside choice that fully falls within the tradition of German strategic naval thought. The Marinefliegerkommando has a fleet of 57 aircraft, a mix of patrol aircraft, the P-3 Orion, 22 Westland Lynx combat multi-role helicopters, and 22 Sea Kings in rescue transport versions. The fleet is being enhanced with 18 ultra-modern NH-90 Sea Lion naval transport helicopters in rescue/transport versions, and now it has 31 of them in total, and 12 Austrian-made unmanned aerial vehicles, the Schiebel Kampfcopter S-100 for surveillance tasks. These drones, already used in many armies including the French, United Arab Emirates, Russian and Chinese ones, weigh just 200 kilos with a maximum speed of 220 kilometers per hour and a ceiling height of up to 5.5 kilometers. Despite its limited size, the German Navy fully participates in the 4 NATO naval groups, which include a mix of multinational naval units set up according to the needs of the Atlantic Alliance. The most far-reaching out-of-area naval operations were the NATO-led active endeavor in the Mediterranean to prevent the movement of terrorists or weapons of mass destruction, the anti-piracy operation in Operation Atalanta in the Indian Ocean against the Somali pirates, as well as the UN flag operation for Lebanon. In particular, the largest contribution is in UNIFIL-2, the United Nations Interim Forces in Lebanon, where Germany participated with 2 frigates, 4 fast boats, and 2 auxiliary ships for more than 2,400 men. The number of naval units was intermittently increased with 2 more Type 212A class submarines, 4 new F-125 missile launcher frigates, 6 MKS 180 multi-role frigates, and a newly designed ship to perform more types of missions, including anti-piracy / anti-terrorism patrols, implementation of maritime embargoes, evacuations of civilians. The constraints of military non-intervention envisaged by the German constitution due to a specific political choice meant that until 2002, the participation of the Bundeswehr in military missions abroad, including those led by the US, NATO, was very limited. Until that date, German troops have only been deployed in strictly peacekeeping operations. The first mission was in the Balkans following the civil war in the former Yugoslavia, specifically in 1995 with IFOR in Bosnia-Herzegovina. The subsequent intervention took place in 1999, again in the Balkans, following the conflict that led to the independence of the former Serbian province of Kosovo. On that occasion, Germany deployed a contingent in the southern Kosovo region. Here, too, the mandate was clear. The German soldiers took sides only as a peacekeeping force. A significant change in approach to this policy of non-intervention has occurred with the long and recently terminated war in Afghanistan. The Bundeswehr, since 2003, in the hottest phase of the US NATO intervention, took on the task of deploying its units in the provinces of northeast Afghanistan, an area not very risky until a few years after. However, since 2015, in fact, the withdrawal from Afghanistan of a large part of the international contingent had allowed the expansion of the Taliban guerrilla, which also made the German-led area of operations a hot one. Former Chancellor Merkel thus decided that the German contingent based in Mazar-el to be increased from 980 to 1,300 soldiers as part of the new mission in support of the Afghan government, making Germany one of the main contributors of troops to coalition operations in Afghanistan. In fact, more than 150,000 German troops served in Afghanistan between the beginning of 2002 and their final withdrawal in summer 2021. Germany was in recent years, in fact, the second biggest troop provider after the United States in Afghanistan, where also 59 German troops died in missions over the years. Berlin's new interventionist policy was reaffirmed in 2019 by the decision to send a contingent in the Sahel, where Germany is participating to the United Nations multidimensional integrated stabilization mission in Mali and to the European Union training mission in Mali and the Niger. Up to a maximum 1,400 German troops can be deployed in the Gao base in a mission to support local governments and to reinforce the military action underway for some time conducted by France to counter the spread of radical Islamic terrorism in a region that does not fall within certainly in the traditional German areas of interest, but which in recent times has been important for the stability in West Africa and consequently for the security of Europe. Counter-terrorism missions and a conventional war in Central Europe are now some of the main frontiers for the Bundeswehr as well. Okay, for today we stop it here. Just hope that you enjoyed this video. Please share it or subscribe to my channel if you're interested in my upcoming content. And for now, I thank you heartily for listening to me. I wish you a nice time and see you next time.